So hey everyone, and in this video we are going to create a very simple project. So it's again based on the basics of Express.js, and today we are actually going to add something new to this. That is, in previous video we just use a local JSON file pretending to be a database, but obviously you would be having some separate database like MongoDB. You would be getting data and saving data there, and you would be using Express.js to connect with MongoDB and get and save data there, right? So for that we have a very simple project here, and we are going to create a very simple project which would allow you to understand a lot complex topics which you would be creating, a complex backend which you would be creating in future using Node.js and MongoDB. Okay, so inside Node.js we actually use Express.js, and MongoDB is used as a database. So I hope you have watched a tutorial which we have created on MongoDB. Like, we have created some tutorials, so you can check out that module. You will get the tutorials, right? So right now I'm going to assume that you know a bit about MongoDB. You have worked on MongoDB, some basic operations like how to add, delete, update data in MongoDB. But today we are going to make it connected to Express.js. That means we are going to allow Express.js to perform the create, read, update, delete operations on the MongoDB database. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what will our project do. So for this, first of all, you need to understand what is to do. So to do is something like, for example, I would say that I want to go to school, I want to go to college, and things like that. Okay, that means task which you want to do. So let me just say that I have some task. Okay, I have some task. So I'll just say that wake. Okay, so wake up at 7. This is one task. Now second task would be have breakfast. Okay, so breakfast, and then other task can be what? So you can say your other task would be do homework or do workout. Okay, so let's say do exercise. Okay, so exercise, and then suppose fourth task would be go to school. Okay, so you would be writing some tasks for your day or whatever you want. So right, I'm just going to assume that these are all the tasks which I want to do. Okay, not specific of anything. These are all the tasks which I want to do. Now that first task is wake up at 7. So I would first of all perform the create operations. Okay, I would be creating them. These four tasks would be created. Now suppose instead of this, I want to change the task to wake up at 8. Okay, so I would just say wake up at 8. So this is what? This is the update operation, right? Then what is the read operation? So I want to check what's written here. That is known as read operation. I want to check what is written here. That's known as read operation. Okay. So create is done, read is done, update is done. Now what is delete? I want to remove this, and I don't want to add anything like replacing this. I don't want to replace this or update this. I'm just deleting this. Okay, so this is actually known as the delete operation. Okay, so you are just deleting things here. So that's what we are going to do. So we are going to have a database. Inside that we are going to perform these operations using Express.js inside MongoDB, right? So now let's begin. I hope you got the idea. So first of all, let's open the project which we are talking about. So guys, here I'm going to simply create a folder, and I'll just name it as to do CRUD. Okay, so TODO, to do CRUD. Okay, to do CRUD. Right, so now guys, here we are going to simply first of all set up our backend. Then we are going to understand the MongoDB setup. Then we are going to create a set of APIs, that is create, read, update, delete, to make some manipulations. Okay, so I'll just right click here and I'll just open this with um, VS Code. Okay, so you can see that it's done. So first of all, we have to go to our terminal, and whenever you are setting up your backend, you right now you have an empty folder, right? So I would simply write npm init. Okay, so npm init would simply create an empty package.json file. So if I hit enter, you can see this would be done, and we have a package.json file. Okay, so here you can see that the main file, which is the starting point, is actually index.js. So I'm going to create a file named as index.js. Here we are going to write our starting code. Okay, then also guys, we would be having some folder. Actually we would be having some file first of all. named as db.js. Here we are going to initialize our MongoDB database, and we are going to call that here using app.use. Right? I hope everyone knows app.use has a purpose. We have understood the basics in the previous video named as Express.js basics, so you can watch that. After that, we have one directory here. I'll just name it as routes. Okay, so inside routes, I would just say we have a routes named as what? So I'll just say that its name is to do routes. Okay, that's it, routes.js. So we are going to define all of our to-do routes here, create, read, update, delete, and we would be just calling a single line of that, so that code is more organized. Okay, so these are just for organization. Okay, so you can actually write everything in a single file also, but obviously you won't be having small backend, you will be having a very big backend. So obviously you would be dividing data into separate files, you would be writing code in separate files. That's what I've done now. Okay, I've just divided my code into separate files. At the end they would come in a single file only. Okay, that is index.js. Right, so guys, first of all, let's talk about MongoDB. So we'll just say that our MongoDB database would be set up, and it would be actually having some schema. So schema actually comes inside the models directory. So here we would be creating one schema named as to do schema. Okay, so here we would be having some schema, like to do would be having a title, it might also have a description, it might also have things like is it completed or not. Okay, is it deleted, or like what's the time when it was updated or created. Okay, so all these things would be inside the schema, right? I hope everyone knows what is MongoDB schema. I have taught this in MongoDB part, but still I'll repeat what is exactly a schema. But first of all, let's set up our MongoDB. So guys, first of all, you have to just search for MongoDB Atlas, and here you can see that this website would load. I would simply click on sign in, and I would simply sign in with my Google account. Okay, any Google account would work, and this is free, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so I would simply go, suppose, with this account. Okay, I would go with this account, and it would definitely take some minutes to start because like it's a heavy website, I can say, so it takes some time definitely. So you can see that it's here, and I'm going to create a new project. Okay, and I'll just name it as something like to do CRUD. Okay, to do, right? So to do CRUD, actually I'll just make C as capital, so this is fine. Okay, so to do CRUD, if I click on next, now I am the owner, so I don't need anyone else. So you can add other people also if you want to allow them to use your database, but I only want this original email from which I have logged in. Only this is the owner. So right now you can see it's something like this. So if I go to database, you can see that it's first of all asking me to build a database. Okay, so here you can simply select this free one. Okay, this is the free one, and you would get this amount of storage. But obviously if you have a lot data, you'd be storing it here or here. It depends on your like amount of things which you have. Okay, so it totally depends on you, but I think we have, yes, all default things here. You can choose the nearest location if you want, and I'll just name it as something. If you want to name it as it is, I'll just name it as cluster 0 only. Okay, now if I click on create, now you can see, okay, it's actually asking for captcha. Nowadays it's asking for captcha, but previously didn't ask anything. Anyways, it's asking, okay, if it asks for the second time, so obviously I have doubts on me, like I am looking for motorcycles, right? And it's asking me again and again, so I feel like I'm not a human, I'm a robot. Okay, so let's just complete this. Okay, then we'll come back. So guys, now you can see that it has been created. My cluster 0 has been created. You can see that now it's asking for username and password. So I'll just name my user as HJ123, and I'll just name the same password so that I can remember things. Since it's not a very secure project, just for learning purpose, so you can give a normal ID password so that you can remember things. But if you are doing it for some freelance work or doing it for company, please give the username and password very secure. Okay, keep this very secure and keep a very strong password. Now we have this, we would simply click on create user. Our user would be created. Once the user would be created, you can see you can add as many users you want. It's not mandatory to put any single. You can add many users, like it would be generating your keys accordingly, MongoDB API keys accordingly. Okay, so now you can see that we have IP address also. By default, my device's IP address would be added here, so you don't need to worry about anything. You can simply click on finish and close. So you can see, yes, I want to check the overview. So you can see that this is done. Now if I go to database, Right now I'll just set up my database, and you know that initially it's empty. So I would simply click on connect, and here you get the option of compass, and here you get the link which would allow you to access the database. Okay, so now if I just close this and now I come back to my code, so here you can see we have db.js. Here I want to start my initialize my data, okay, a database. Okay, so first of all I want to paste my API key. Now suppose if I pass my API key, and suppose my password was what, hj123. Okay, suppose we are going to write some function inside that we are going to pass this API key. Okay, this is my API key from which I can actually connect with my database, right?